Hi folks, welcome back. Coming to you from the future. We're home, but we are putting this video together and we are going to St. John's in it, which is the big city of Newfoundland, Labrador. And we're kind of looking forward to it. You know, most of the time we hang out in the woods, but it'll be fun to be in the city. We had a lot of things planned for St. John's that we wanted to do according to the guidebooks, the tourist books. Unfortunately, Hurricane Ernesto ended up hitting St. John's about the same time we did. And while there was really no damage, there was a lot of rain and a lot of wind. And so a lot of what we did was kind of in the car. The first day we got there, we stayed at Pippy Campground, Pippy Park, which is a city-owned park. It's a really big park just on the northern edge of St. John's. Kind of used hard, but it was good enough for us. We'd go back. It had good bathrooms. The sites were tight, but, you know, what do you expect for an in-city campground? We were pretty happy with it. I told Chuck to find us a good restaurant. And so he found us a good restaurant, but somehow we ended up at a different restaurant called the Ship Pub, which claims to be the oldest pub in St. John's. But I have read that that's highly contentious, that there's another place that claims it is the oldest pub in the city. And we had, you know, a decent dinner. The folks were really nice. It's advertised as having music every night, but there wasn't any music there, and that was probably because of the weather. But we enjoyed it. We drove into the city and walked around a little bit. The next day, it was still, you know, rainy and windy, but we wanted to see Jelly Bean Row, which, much like Charleston, are brightly colored houses, not necessarily pastels, but brightly colored houses, and you could drive down the streets and look at them. They also have what they call chimney pots on top, like the top of their chimneys in these houses are shaped kind of like urns and pots, and they were pretty cool.
Take the next right onto Gower Street, then your destination will be on the left.
But take a ride on Gower?
No. That's just to get up here. I don't know where it's taken us. Yeah, I would go left and get back down to the main. Or let me find something in the phone. Oh my gosh, how adorable is this street? One of the things that we really wanted to do, and we had been told by St. John residents, oh, you got to go to Kitty Vitty. The food trucks there are out of this world. It's really quaint. You got to go. Kitty Vitty is a neighborhood on the north side of Signal Hill where the Cabot Tower is. And the weather was just so awful. We did not venture down there. So that'll be something we have to do next time we go. That same day, we walked around downtown. Light rain, a lot of wind, but you know, you can't let that stop you from having fun. And we found the original restaurant that we wanted to go to called the Celtic Hearth, and had some traditional Newfoundland food. Although Chuck still didn't get his cod cheeks and cod tongue. But I had Jig's dinner, which was kind of like a pot pie on steroids. Oh my Lord, it was so good. Well worth it, and it kind of gave us a really quaint little place to get out of the rain and get warm and have a hot meal, and by the time we left, the rain had quit. We walked around a little bit more, but rain came back, and so we headed back to the camp, which, you know, wasn't far away. And the next day, again, rain, clouds, fog, wind. We headed up to Signal Hill, which had been in use as a citadel for the harbor of St. John's. The harbor of St. John's you can only access by water through a very little place break in the rocks called the Narrows, and Signal Hill sits right at the top of those narrows, and so it's been a lookout point, a citadel, since the middle of the 1600s. Sitting atop Signal Hill is the Cabot Tower, which was started in 1898 to commemorate the 400th anniversary of John Cabot landing in Newfoundland, and the Diamond Jubilee celebration of Queen Victoria's 60th year on the throne. So while it looks old, it's really, you know, it's not from, you know, the 1700s or anything like that. We went up there because, you know, it's a thing to do, and oh my goodness, the wind was blowing so hard. The place was packed because everybody was trying to get in out of the rain. It had a really kind of cool little Marconi museum, because that claims to be the place, the first transatlantic, I don't know what's going on up there in those trees, the first transatlantic wireless transmission by Marconi was received there. Wait, I know the year. 1901, December of 1901. Sorry about that, guys. There are supposed to be some really wonderful walks up there that wind down along the cliffs on the bay, but the weather was just not good. And in fact, the next day I read that someone had actually slipped off those cliffs, whether from the wind or the slick rocks and the rain, I don't know, but somebody died coming down off of there. We really enjoyed St. John's. I wish the weather had been a little nicer, because there were a lot more things we wanted to do, but we did a lot of the things we wanted to do. I guess again next time. So after 3 nights, we needed to head back to the western end of the island, which was 900 kilometers away, to catch our overnight ferry from Port Aux Basque to North Sydney, Nova Scotia on Cape Breton. And we took, I think 3 nights to get there. So
It's coming up.
Okay, we had a good time. We would definitely do it again.
I wanted to give you a look at where we boondocked last night. This is Charlottetown, and we camped between the fire department and the wharf. We could have actually camped on the wharf, but it was pretty windy last night, and we kind of like the relative seclusion of this little road here. It's a very quiet night. Nobody bothered us. We're loving this Newfoundland wild camping for sure. It comes in all shapes and sizes, from isolated lighthouses to over by the fire department in the little town, so it's pretty cool. People in the States are way too uptight for this. This was our camp last night in the beautiful little town of Port Anson, Newfoundland. Little tiny community park. complete with covered gazebo and picnic table. Signpost. And a lovely view of the water. It was a beautiful night. We appreciate little community parks like this. Here we are in our last camp in Newfoundland tonight. We're at Barachois Pond Provincial Park. We're about an hour or so from the ferry. Our ferry doesn't leave till 11:30 tomorrow night. It's an overnight ferry, all we could get. But we have a beautiful campsite. This is primitive camping, no power. We took probably our only cold shower of the trip. Not probably, definitely our only cold shower of the trip so far, which was disappointing. It was supposed to be hot water on demand. Well, we demanded it and we didn't get any hot water. However, we're washed up and we did laundry. So we're going to hang out here tomorrow afternoon and then head down towards the ferry after lunch sometime and hang out there, I guess, and see what we can get into. But anyway, cloudy night. We had a lot of rain today coming south, and we've got a beautiful campsite. I'll show you the lake. What are you cooking up for us tonight?
We are having ravioli with ricotta and spinach.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw some brats in it.
Some smoked brats into the sauce?
Yes.
Should be delicious.
Hey there, we are just hanging out at the ferry terminal at Port Aux Basque in far southwestern Newfoundland, getting ready to take the ferry over to North Sydney, Nova Scotia on Cape Breton Island. So we got here a little early, getting in line for the ferry because we knew someone who'd been bumped and we weren't looking forward to getting bumped, so we got here early enough to kind of guarantee our place in line here. And we just had a delicious dinner, and the ship is sitting out there now. It wasn't there a little while ago, so we're waiting for 11:45 p.m. So it's going to be a late night, but we're supposedly going to have super comfortable reclining seats because the little cabins were all sold out. And however, it doesn't necessarily sound like they're super comfortable, so we'll see. It'll be an adventure either way.
What time did we get in?
We got here at like...
What time did we get in?
Oh, what time do we get in tomorrow morning? So we lose an hour, a half hour, we get into Nova Scotia at 7 a.m., which would be, never mind. We get into Nova Scotia at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning.
All right.
Okay.
Last one's in, first one's out.
That's right. We are exiting the Highlanders after an 8-hour ferry ride from Newfoundland to Nova Scotia.
So we're glad we made it across
Yes.
in one piece. Not much sleep.
No. I'll turn it around in a second.
All right.
Head southeast toward Trans-Canada Highway, Nova Scotia 105 East. In 600 meters, sharp right.
We had an eventful night on the ferry. We paid, I think, $30 extra each to have recliners to sleep in, which certainly were not worth it. We didn't get a great night's sleep. Our chairs were right by the very heavy glass door that clunked and clicked and banged every time someone came in or out, which was like every 90 seconds. I think next time we'd try to take our chances and find a couch or a chair somewhere else that would definitely have been more comfortable than the recliners that we paid for. But we had a really smooth sailing. The ship was really nice. I wasn't expecting something so large. So we made it to Cape Breton and are headed to Chetty Camp in the Cape Breton Highlands National Park. Thank you for coming along with us. Think about subscribing if you haven't, and we genuinely appreciate you.
Stay tuned for more.
Stay tuned for more.